Here we have some examples of the behavioral changes of the consumers that happen due to the MCO and COVID. With the public or potential diners, they can often prefer takeaway order if they felt somewhat at risk to the disease spreading around. If they want to dine in, they prefer less crowded establishment as opposed to normal time before COVID, and they can get more critical about the restaurant's cleanliness. With the restaurant diners themselves, they can often came in a more compacted dining group, not too big, not too small. Perhaps out of their own conscience, they can spend less time, as in not hanging around too long, and so they spend less money with them not hanging around too long in the restaurant.
So, moving on to the next part, which is the service blueprint of the redesigned service. This picture is our blueprint. This blueprint will show every step and little detail of the service. The first part is physical evidence. These evidences not only indicate the contact resources that may be used in the service, but also may affect the guest's perceptions of the service. Then the next part is customer actions. This part shows from check-in to check-out the guest's behavior before the line of interaction. This is the on-stage employee contact. In this part, there are some visible employee actions, like greeting and welcome the guests. After this line, there are some invisible employee actions, like welcome drinks and snacks. And at last is the support processes. There are some supporting systems related to above.
Process instructions for the guests. Guests should keep a distance between people when measure body temperature and eating. Guests must clean their hands for the waiter. Supervise guests to screen calls, clean guests, and check whether the temperature is normal. Encourage customers to pay online and otherwise accessible contract with employees. For a restaurant want to advise too many guests arriving at the same time. So prepare a welcoming hall. In order to ensure the safety of guests, the restaurant can set up disposable tableware which can be handled in a safe way after the guests have finished eating.
Now I will explain how customer satisfaction can still be maintained with a redesigned service. All service delays are difficult to do normally during COVID-19 pandemic. It was a different type of service before the COVID-19 pandemic, but the service delays have to still maintain customer satisfaction with their service. Firstly, safety is the most effective service in restaurants, cafes, and bars. They are careful about the health management of staff and customers, keeping the distance next to customer seats, setting a safe payment system, always wearing masks, and disinfecting. Next is takeout and delivery service, which are starting or developing takeout and delivery service since COVID-19 pandemic. It is a good way for the customer who doesn't want to eat in a restaurant or cafe because they want to eat the same foods or drinks at home with their family and friends. Finally, relationships with customers. It is important to be considerate of customers' feelings that they cannot see their face because they must wear a mask during a work time. So, Customers cannot see their smile and misunderstand their attitude. It is important to change the service that the current situation and customers want. Then the customers will still be satisfied with their service during COVID-19 pandemic, same as before.
Hello, my name is Joseph, and the topic I'm about to present is the incorporation of products and services to enhance customer value. Firstly, I would like to talk about social distancing. Although social distancing may seem like a bother to certain customers, they're still able to use this to our advantage by keeping tables slightly further apart, which will provide customers with a less crowded and more comfortable eating environment. And next would be the customer assurance. Due to the standard COVID SOPs, as well as several other points that I'm going to talk about later on, we believe would be able to enhance customer assurance by showing them that we have done everything we can to provide a safe dining environment for the customers. One of them would be the highly trained staff. Our staff will be trained to be able to handle certain situations as well as properly follow COVID guidelines as a restaurant. We believe having staff that are highly trained in these situations will help with improving customer value. On the next slide, we will be able to also provide a cleaner and safer environment to the customers, free of viruses as well as other things. Aside from that, we plan to incorporate lesser cash transactions, and we will preferably incline to more towards card payments and etc. Lastly, we will provide additional services such as delivery services for those customers who like to have our products but aren't able to drive over due to certain complications. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Newly designed quality of service measurement. Newly designed service need to ensure the reliability of customers, and the reliable service behavior is expected by customers. For better customers experience, reduce the number of people in the restaurant. The restaurant is more spacious and avoid direct physical contact between customers, which can achieve a good prevention effect on COVID-19. In order to ensure customers' sense of security and trust in us, we adapt a variety of online payment methods and provide customers with what they need in the form of takeout. To stimulate customer trust, we help customers to provide service quickly and irresponsibly, actively respond to customers' requirements, and any service needs to improve customers' satisfaction with us.
I will introduce the touch points of the service blueprint that the service failure could occur. The first, complaints caused by guests queuing during peak dining hours, and the second, the lack of systematic service training for a long time might lead to unprofessional service of staff. The third is due to the COVID-19 restrictions. The problem of the number of people dining at the same time has to be controlled, which will cause many complaints and dissatisfaction from guests. And the fourth is because of wearing a mask, it's difficult for customers to see or smile. And for how to solve these problems, the strict professional skill training for newly hired employees. Services are divided into intangible and tangible service. As a restaurant manager, you should pay more attention of the hygiene and the satisfaction of guests during meals, so that every employee need to have empathy and feel the customer personally. Emotion to provide the customer with effective communication and exchanges. For customers who are unable to deny due to number control, actively propose remedial and measures and give them coupons and some small gifts. Facing customer complaints, actively seek refunds or reservice, and remotely correct our service to help the customer when their emotions.
For question 8, there are 4 main advantages. Number 1 is control advantages. Guests need to check the health code in advance. Both guests and the restaurant staff will undergo strict temperature testing before entering the restaurant. This largely avoids the risk of group infections that occur when guests dining. Coinard for restaurant management and control personnel. Number 2 is preventive advantage. Carry out mobile phone ordering service. The restaurant has established a complete disinfection process. Service and operation personnel should wear masks throughout the process and vacate guests to use electronic money to check out. This all prevent the risk of crossing, spending, or variance. Number 3 is service quality makes up for its advantages. Provide carry out a variety of contactless and convenient service such as mobile phone booking and mobile phone ordering. For the special case of service staff wearing masks throughout the service period, some customers will think this is impolite. Therefore, the restaurant will systematically train service personnel using thorough and standard service actions, polite and peaceful service language, and exquisite uniform dress to make up for the quality of service in a special period as much as possible. Number 4 is advantages of price and delivery service. Price advantage: the restaurant promotion and discount activities during the special period. Delivery service advantage: the competition with Panda Food and other delivery mobile apps platform and using critical packaging. The packaging design is more narrow. This will be different from other hotel restaurants. For conclusion, the implementation of innovative service for restaurants under special circumstances is worth recognition, while the important evaluation criteria of the service industry is service quality. The innovative service process proposed on the premise of service quality will be a significant and effective process planning. Service standards will be evaluated strictly with reference to tangible and intangible. The measurement of service quality strictly refers to 5 steps, namely SER, VQ, of course, a reasonable service process specification mechanism is also necessary. Each item contained in the report strictly abided by the above rules on. The innovative service report performed during the COVID-19 period is worthy of reference and reference. Thanks for your attention.